What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 17 of Procedurally Generated. That's right, we're back. We took a week off. Life hits hard sometimes, but we're back. We're here. We're doing it.
Yeah, we are refreshed. Had a busy week, so
we did. Yes.
Yeah, we decided that last week was just not going to happen. But hey, we have the same 3 games from last week on this week's show.
100%. And
we didn't ditch those. Luckily, it would have been too much work.
Yeah. I was already one game in when we decided to call it, and I was like, "That's all right. We're not."
Yeah.
No, and those velvety pipes you hear are belong to John Carson.
Hi,
and my name is Chris Weber.
That's also true.
Yes.
No. This says Frank.
Yes,
on my Zencaster screen.
I made a
Frank
hilarious
Weber?
joke. Yep, I put my name as Frank, and I wanted to hear him stutter, and he's like, "Frank, huh?" Like, yeah.
Are you the inventor of the grill, Frank Weber?
Is that the Weber Girl's first name, guy?
No, but that sounds like somebody who would invent a grill.
I mean, he spelled his name wrong. That's
Sir Francis Weber.
Oh, I've missed you, John.
Yeah, thanks.
It's been a long 2 weeks.
It has. So. Well, we're back.
We are.
Now you're stuck with me weekly again until we decide that life's too much. Then we need to take another break.
2 shows a week.
17 weeks. Oh yeah, we should. Hey, 2 shows a week.
Yeah. No, we shouldn't do that.
What would we do with that? Do we do like news? Do we do just do a stream? Is that our second show?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
We could critique fragrances.
We could. I actually I bought a candle a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was going to be maybe a bad choice. Wife loved it, so hey, nice. I'm pretty good at judging candles, I think.
I also this week got some interesting news related to fragrances. My Twitch channel is now an official partner of Dr. Squatch.
Listen, I'm gonna ask you to keep your promotions off of our podcast. That's for your stream.
It's true.
Dr. Squatch is in no way associated with Procedurally Generated yet.
Well, now to be fair,
asked.
when I approached them, I did say we also had a podcast.
Oh,
so
good.
My next step is actually to talk to them and see.
Have them send me a bundle of soap and shampoo, and then we'll talk.
Perfect. Also, not perfect. I had to buy my own stuff. So,
well, congrats on getting a partnership.
Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah.
Ever since I used Dr. Squatch for the first time last week, and I have been like enamored with it.
You went all in then.
This worked. Yeah. I guess it was the week before, but
it works.
I was like, this is I didn't know I could smell this good for this long, and so that's what happened.
Just radiating manly sense. No, the Dr. Squatch is a product that plagues my ads on YouTube. Absolutely just smothers my ads on YouTube. So I'm very familiar with how men are supposed to smell.
Like bay rum.
Yes, exactly. Well, I just smother myself in rum. I mean,
you smell like a drunk, sir.
There's a difference.
Is that how men's supposed to smell? I saw it on a commercial.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Do you like pine tar?
Oh, sir,
goodness.
You need to leave. Order a Baconator or get out.
Oh, yes. So since last week, I now have a morning and an evening toothpaste, and they're different. It's a very strange
weird.
world. Yeah, I was
are they supposed to act different like through the day and the night?
Well, one is supposed to like kind of specifically target like the effects of like morning breath.
Sure.
And then the nighttime one has got like chamomile in it and some other things that are like supposed to kind of trigger like a calmness, so like and then it's got
got some like man essential oils in them.
Yeah. So
oh no, hold on, need to see if that's a thing.
Man essential oils.
Yeah.
Oh, if it is, we need to edit this part of the program out so we can get to work on our business plan.
No one take that from us. Oh, I should spell Man Central right.
You just made that word up. How do you know you're spelling it wrong?
No, that's not something that exists. Well, I mean, this won't be out for a few days. I'm sure we'll have it already purchased by then.
Yep. Your guys' YouTubes will be flooded with Man Central Oils commercials.
We can start our manly scent business together.
Yeah, don't ask us how we're going to be creating these scents. You probably don't want to know.
Let's see here. We're gonna bottle some armpit, some lager sweat. We're gonna call it lager schwitz.
I like it.
It's one that just smells like car exhaust. That's a manly thing, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. One that smells like 2-year worn shoes. That's manly, I think. Yeah. Yep. Hey,
we're gonna sprinkle in some cigar butts.
Yeah,
that'll
sure.
be, you can just leave those out.
Just pure burps.
Yeah.
Actually a whole line of different burp scents, because they're not all the same.
Right.
One's spicy food, one's beer.
Yeah. Well,
perfect.
Yeah, this is gonna go well for us. Yeah. I feel supremely confident.
We'll get Kate on the legal side. We'll get Rose on the marketing side. It'll be great.
Yeah, I think we've stumbled onto something here.
Yeah, Man Central Oils.
Yeah, but video games,
sure, are true moneymaker.
I mean, we obviously know Man Central Oils well, but we also know a thing or two about video games. John, it's been 2 weeks. What have you been getting up to? What have you been playing?
Oh boy, I don't think, did we ever talk about the Guilty Gear beta?
I think, when did it come out? I think I remember you mentioning that maybe it was coming out. I don't know if you had a chance to play it yet.
Yeah, that would have been the 20. Oh yeah, hold on, that's March. Yes, that would have been since the last time that we recorded. So yeah, I played some of the Guilty Beer beta. Oh no,
that's another scent.
Guilty Beer.
Guilty Beer.
that's our new our new IPA. Oh man, what if we just made beers based after fighting games? Anyways, the Guilty Gear beta happened over the course of, what was it, like the 16th or 17th of February until I think the 22nd. They had to extend it because there were some outages in the servers for like a day and a half. It's brutal. But that game is a super pretty fighting game. Everything is of an anime aesthetic. Have you ever seen Guilty Gear Xrd, which is like the previous one?
I've probably seen. I mean, I've probably seen like maybe a cover art or maybe like something, a couple screenshots. But this might kill you a little bit. But I've chalked it up to fighting game and then immediately unchecked it as interested on my brain.
That's fine. I do that with battle royales and with MOBAs and stuff. That's fine.
Yeah.
Have you seen Dragon Ball Fighters? Like,
yes.
So their whole shtick right now visually is making 3D models looking like 2D anime characters. So everything, when you look at it straight on, looks like it's a 2D fighter, but there'll be portions where the camera will like zoom around and will actually show that the character's like fully 3D.
Okay.
It's a really neat trick that they do, but they're bringing that presentation to 4K on PlayStation 5. It just looks really sharp. It's a fast moving, fun game. I don't really have like too much in-depth knowledge on how Guilty Gear plays. I'm still trying to figure it out. It's pretty complicated. Lots of like air dashes and combo stuff. I'm not skilled enough to do that, but I like hitting buttons and I like making things happen. I don't necessarily know how those things happen all the time. But yeah, I had a a fun couple of hours messing around with some characters and playing online for a bit. I think I streamed it for a tiny bit before watching like the fighting game roundtable. It's the second one of those that they've had where they've had a bunch of developers from different studios get together and start talking about like, oh, like what's it like making games during COVID? Like what are the troubles that you guys have run into? What are the demands that people have with like online netcode and stuff now that everyone's playing from home mostly. So that kind of meeting wasn't very it was pretty unprecedented until last year. So it's nice to see all those companies getting together and like collaborating on stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's the kind of thing that kind of pushes an industry forward, or at least a piece of the industry forward. So that's awesome.
Yep. Yeah. Other than that, I really don't have too much on the Guilty Gear beta. I'm really looking forward to that game when it comes out. But I think I'll have more to talk about with it in April when that actually launches. But yeah.
Anything else?
Well, one that you've been playing, so I'll wait on that.
Yeah.
Oh man, have you heard of Magic: The Gathering?
Oh man,
are you familiar with? So you have a deck of cards, and in there are
playing
creatures
cards, like
and spells,
kings, queens, all that good
stuff. Yeah. The Queen of Dominaria. Oh boy. I don't know if there's a Queen of Dominaria, actually. I'm going to be roasted by...
And you call yourself a fan. If you know that he's wrong, let him know. Make sure you tweet at him. Don't let him get away with this.
Please don't. No, I've been playing some Magic. I've been actually got really into WoW again.
Okay.
This shouldn't really count for what I've been playing. It's like, oh, John, what are the two things you're most likely to be playing? It's Magic and World of Warcraft.
So you breathed air today, did you?
I did.
Fascinating stuff.
The fish swam, birds flew, and I played World of Warcraft and Magic. I participated in a Magic tournament that was called the Arena Open, and it's like anybody who has Magic Arena could pay, I think it's like $25 or something, and enter to this tournament. Day one, you can enter as many times as you wanted to. You had to get to so many wins to qualify for day two. So it was either, if you're doing like best of 3 matches, you had to win like 3 or 4 matches. If you're doing best of 1, you had to win 7 matches. But I hit 7 wins on my first try and made it to day 2. So it's been a while since I've done something productive with Magic. But day 2, I went like 1 and 2 or something, and was kicked out at that point. So not too great on day 2, but it's a lot of fun. I didn't
know you did this. I would have liked to have known this.
Oh, that I play Magic competitively?
Yeah, I didn't. I thought you just goofed.
So I started playing Magic in person, like going to tournaments, and like kind of learned everything. It was like a huge trial by fire for me. So I'd go and I'd draft, and I'd play like at the local game store tournament every Wednesday, and then Friday and Saturday. I started going like religiously pretty quick, but I wanted to learn the intricacies of drafting a limited deck, which like you don't bring your own cards at that point. Everything that you everything that you play with is it's drafted amongst the people who are there. So everyone sits at a table, everyone gets 3 packs of cards, and you get cards from every pack that everyone has at the table. I don't really want to get into the whole process of drafting, but anyways, you make a deck, and then you play in a little tournament. So
is this one in person?
This one wasn't. No, this was all online.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
Yes.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. It was neat.
Yeah. Is there? Okay. No, that's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm looking forward to getting back in person at some point and not rubbing it in my opponent's face if I beat them. You still want to be pretty nice to people.
Yeah. I mean, anybody who does anything competitively, hopefully you conduct yourself with some grace.
Show sportsmanship. If someone else is like ripping you and you're having fun with it, rip them back, whatever. Like, read the room is the main lesson for any in-person competition. Especially when you're going back to in-person competition after a year and a half of being away from it. So, other than those things, I have one game that you've been playing. I think that's it.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I'll let you know if I do. If anything pops into my mind that I did play, but go ahead, Chris. What 8 games did you beat in the last 2 weeks?
Not quite 8 games. We played, so we're still playing Persona 5. Nobody should be surprised by that. I fully expect to probably be playing that game until the beginning of April. We'll see though. I'm 60 hours in. We crossed the 60-hour mark today. We've beaten the 3rd palace. And I'm having fun with it, man. I'm having just a really good time with it. I'm further than I ever was when I played it before. And yeah, it's one of those things where I'm kind of just goofing around now, waiting for the timer to run down on this 3rd palace. So I'm doing a lot of like social stuff. And even that stuff is just like developing these relationships and having all of these things to do. Even, it's such a strange change up from what goes on in a palace to what goes on outside of a palace. It's like you're switching between 2 completely different games. And it's kept my interest at a very high level. So we'll continue to keep playing that and see where that takes us. But in the meantime, I don't know what I would have talked about on the last episode, but we did finish Visage.
Yes.
That is up there, I think, as one of the top 2 or 3 scariest games I've ever played.
That one looked fun.
Holy smokes. That game had me jumping. There were the only issues that I had with it were related to maybe like some of the things you find in these first person horror games are like even the old like Resident Evils. Find thing to make other thing unlock, or it's that the interconnectivity of all of the maps. Now I think or of all of the different parts of your environment. I think it did a pretty good job. There were a couple things at the end though that I had chat like look up to help me kind of move through. And there were things like when I knew where they were, I was like, there's no way I was going to find that. So it's just kind of some obscure things, which it just really slowed the game down a little bit. But when that game is clicking, there's 3 separate stories within the game, and then kind of an epilogue of sorts. And boy, there was one story specifically that it was probably the most frightening thing I've done in a video game.
Wow.
For the 6 to 8 hours that it took me to beat that one. Well, maybe not that long, but probably 6. Yeah.
Yeah. That one took you a bit. Took you a few days.
Yeah. So Visage is really good. I would recommend it. I was saying that it's only on PC. It's not only on PC. Apparently it is out on PlayStation and Xbox as well.
That is the name of the Microsoft console. It is Xbox. You're right.
Yeah, I was more making sure that I think I saw it on the Xbox store.
Atari Jaguar.
I think that's what it was.
The 3DO.
And then we tried to play The Surge, and I ran into an issue.
Okay. Where it's just rough. It's just a rough game.
Well, no. So I wasn't sure. I played on the PlayStation 5. I have The Surge as like a PlayStation Plus game from a long time ago. But I drew it as the next game that I was going to play, and it opened up nice and started nice, and then I was playing for a little bit, and in the opening area you play a man who's in a wheelchair, and as I was going around that area, I got these blue lines that would cut all the way across the screen, and they would stay there, and it would slowly add blue line until the entire screen just had a blue filter over it. So I got to the checkpoint, and a cutscene kicked in, and all those blue lines went away. Cutscene looked great. Next area loaded, and all I had was a white screen with a HUD, but I couldn't see anything that was happening.
Well, did you have to put robot eyes in your person?
Oh, geez.
Oh, man. Oh, I have to cut out eyes from people? But this game?
So yeah, no, it definitely had issues. So I tweeted at the developer, and I was like, they've already released Surge 2. I don't know if I'll even get a response, but let's check it out. Apparently, this is a known issue. All you have to do to fix it is turn off lens flare.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the resolution. That's how you fix it. So I shuffled it back into my list to maybe come up a different day with a note saying turn off lens flare, because at that point I'd already moved on to something else and I didn't want to cut back again.
Well, that's also weird to see options like that within a console game. Like, it's been more prevalent in the last few years. And I think the Surge was actually pretty good about all kinds of graphical options. But
yeah, and it wasn't a lens flare like off or on. It was a bar that you could toggle like left to right how much lens flare you wanted.
Do you want nothing, or do you want J.J. Abrams? How much lens flare do you want?
Yes. So I had too much, and so that I could not see anything at all. So we'll try that again in the future, now that I know how to get it to work.
Sure.
Then we played and beat a game called Anodyne. This was a fun little game. It took me, I think, 3 streams. It should have taken me less than that. But it's a kind of a 2D top-down action RPG.
You have a scientist with a broom. Is that what's happening?
Yes.
In there? Okay.
Yes. I think scientist. I don't know. The ending obscured some things for me, but
it was just with a broom.
Yeah, it was just a fun, adventure, like a small little bite-sized game. I shouldn't say that. It was a game that was the right size for what it was trying to do.
It's designed to look like a Game Boy Color game, like, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's got the 16-bit. So it would have been like more SNES type aesthetic, with actually one part that did go back and have an 8-bit aesthetic. So it did fluctuate between 8 and 16-bit at one point. But yeah, you're exploring the area. You're trying to find these cards. These cards open up different gates, which lets you progress a little bit further. You learn a couple skills. You go through some dungeons. You beat some bosses. It had very much like an old school, like Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past type vibe to it.
Yeah.
The music was fantastic. It was an interesting game. I would recommend, if you're into the top-down action RPG, if you're into that type of game, I would consider giving Anodyne a look. There's a sequel out as well, which which is now on my list that I want to give a shot. But
I was just about to ask that.
Yeah, that one actually. So the 8 and 16-bit from the first one, they take it a step further and they go like full 3D. And 16-bit,
it looks like it's PlayStation.
Yeah, like full 3D, like with
PS1,
like a nod to that generation of consoles. So,
right.
We'll see how it goes when we get to that one. But I really liked my time with Anodyne.
Good.
Then we played and beat Bugsnax.
Oh, you did beat it. I thought you ditched it.
No, I saw it through to the end.
Proud of you.
Bugsnax gets too much credit. It's not that good. Yeah, I get why it got the love that it got, but if you really look at it, it's really not. It's nothing. There's nothing that special about Bugsnax.
Okay.
That's how I feel about that. It had its charm, but its charm wore off with. For me, the gameplay was repetitive and at the end frustrating. The story was interesting. But I think to be fair, I think I'm holding the fact that the amount of hype surrounding the story and the ending and stuff I think it devalued the ending for me, not having any idea what actually, without like having actually been spoiled on anything. I think I was just expecting something incredible, and I was just like, all right, I guess.
I think but most of the things I heard were like, Yeah, it's a cute game that deals with some pretty heavy subject matter for the style of game that it is. But that's really as far as I had heard, like story wise. Like otherwise, I just heard general just good things and nothing nothing substantial about what those good things were. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't really have anything to add. I haven't really played it yet. I've caught like 2 bug snacks. That's about it. That's all I've touched of the bug snack.
Yeah. So I won't go any further into that because I know a lot of people do like that game. It just did not click with me. I saw it through to the end, but at the end I was like, I'm ready to be very much done with this game. Mm-hmm. So, and then today I didn't finish, but I did decide to pull the plug on Bravely Default 2. Yeah. I have finished. Yeah, we were playing Bravely Default 2, which I was super pumped about. I was really excited. I didn't get to play Bravely Default. I didn't get to play Bravely Second. Mm-hmm. Bravely Default 2 it's on the Switch, so I was like, this is my chance to finally experience one of these games. It doesn't tie to the first game in a way that is substantial. I'm not continuing a story that I need to know or anything like that. So I was like, this is a perfect chance to get in. And the first couple of days with it, I was actually pretty good with it. There were some things that drove me nuts. The game does not look very good. The resolution is real bad in some spots.
Yeah.
And that it was enough to be distracting.
Yeah, I don't know if like the character models are too detailed or like what's going on.
One thing that did help the experience for me was to turn off that filter that blurs the background.
Yeah.
The characters, I guess I didn't notice it as much with the characters, but the environments just looked real rough.
Yeah.
I
feel like they just focus more on like the enemy design and stuff like that. Because like if you look at those like giant ogres and stuff, they look like they shouldn't be on the Switch.
Yeah.
Like the detail on them is just ridiculous. Like the texture work, the materials looks insane. But I don't know how that would affect the overall resolution of it. I've also been playing it. I didn't get quite as far as you have so far. But yeah, it's like it looks good if the resolution is like cranked all the way up, which is usually when there's like 2 characters on screen. Mm-hmm. But if they go above that, then everything just kind of tanks to like 720p or lower. Yeah, I really want to see a Digital Foundry thing on this.
Yeah, the thing that when I was in like the first city, you have the ability to like kind of like zoom out your view so you can see the overall part of the city, and then it zooms in, and then there's a third zoom in when you go into a building. And when you go into a building, boy, it is a jagged mess. Again, I haven't been playing handheld. It probably looks better handheld just because it's that smaller, tighter screen.
Handheld always looks jagged to me. I don't know. Even if everything is running at like the native 720p that the screen is, everything always looks a little bit blurry to me. But
yeah, and I get it's not, the Switch is what the Switch is, but there are other games that I would have to think, like a Super Mario Odyssey, a Breath of the Wild. Granted, that has kind of a unique art style in and of itself. Mm-hmm. This one just felt like so much more should have been done to crisp things up a little bit.
Sure.
Enough that it did detract from my experience. And then the other thing that really I was not going to be able to put up with 40 hours of was the voice acting.
Oh, sure. Can you switch it to Japanese?
I probably should have. But then I also think about streaming a game, and it's hard because a lot of people lurk. A lot of people are just wanting background noise, and sometimes just having English for a primarily English audience is the right play. But like have you run into a character named Adam yet?
No.
Okay, we'll talk when you get to Adam. But yeah, so
I have a pretty high threshold for voice acting in Japanese things.
Okay. I'm curious to see where he lands.
Okay. All right. I also played a little bit of the demo of Project Triangle Strategy.
Oh yeah, I actually did.
That has some pretty questionable acting in that one as well. Not just like annoying voices, but just clearly the person who's playing the protagonist in that game just sounds bored. Like, just does not sound like they want to be there at all. Or didn't get the right direction on what like that scene means, or like what kind of feelings they should be interpreting. And yeah, that, I feel like the biggest thing coming out of that demo is just like they really need to fix their voice cast.
Yeah.
And I've heard that for Bravely Default as well. I did like some of the voices that have come up in Bravely Default 2 so far. Who's the Vanguard that you defeat? Like with the blonde hair, who has like an Australian accent. I think he was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I forgot his name.
I don't remember his name. I don't even know if you're gonna find him again later. But yeah, he was just like a dumb jock, knight dude. He was pretty funny.
Yeah. But that wraps up everything, and then I'm starting a new game tomorrow, and I'm not entirely sure what it is yet. So
what do you think about the gameplay of Bravely Default 2? I don't think you really got into that part, because that usually drives your your feelings on games more than anything.
You know, the walking around ain't bad.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed.
It's a JRPG.
Yeah,
it's a throwback.
It was, yeah. So that was kind of nice. I didn't hate that. The combat. So the reason I ultimately decided to put it down was combat related. But it didn't start that way. It took me a second to wrap my head around the default and brave mechanic in the first place. Default basically is defend, and brave is you kind of pool your attacks to, you just go nuts. You can do up to 4 attacks, and you can borrow against your attacks or your BP meter and all this stuff. So I started to wrap my head around it. And then I got into one of the fights, one of the bigger boss fights from the beginning of the game. And I had a lot of help in the chat, which was also, it's always awesome with any game I'm playing when people understand the systems better than I do, so they can kind of point out things that I'm not getting. Because I don't know, maybe I'm not that sharp, but there's a lot of times when I'm playing a game where I'm just like, I might have missed something, or I'm reading chat and I miss a tutorial, things like that.
Yeah.
I had a lot of help in the chat and stuff. And as chat was helping me in this boss fight that I was in, I started to see all of these layers upon layers upon layers upon layers of how to tackle the combat in that game for these more difficult boss fights.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I heard, the more disconnected and less interested I became. Because I think that the combat can feel good to a point, but eventually if it almost adds so many things to what's happening that it just turns into this chaotic mess where I couldn't keep track of keep track of buffs and debuffs and all that stuff.
I guess what specifically in that fight were the things that kind of like threw you off?
There were,
because like at least previously I've only played the original Bravely Default, but like the main complication in that game is it's really just the brave and the default system. It's really just like how far in the hole do you want to go for your turns to deal damage to these enemies while keeping other characters like doing their attacks turn by turn while your other characters recover, or like whose special is coming up soon to deal damage to the boss or whatever. I know there's like buffs and debuffs, but like this is like what like the second or third major boss in the game.
It was the third, yep.
And I don't think you should be really thinking about like that much complicated. Like that stuff is probably stuff that you learn over time, right?
Well, but so yes, yeah. This was the first fight that actually had the buffs and debuffs in them. But I don't want to play a turn-based JRPG, with the expectation that I'm going to defend like 50 to 60% of the time. Like that's what I felt like I was doing. I was getting into these fights just to defend, because putting yourself in the hole right away, while in the easier fights, you can do that. You can put yourself in the hole, you can attack, wipe them out first round, no problem. But the second you have a fight that goes to the second round, you have to defend to get your your BP back. And again, for you guys that haven't played, this is probably like you're not even speaking the same language. But defend is such an important part of that game that I was just having to decide when to defend, how to prioritize the number of attacks that I want to do to this enemy. And then when the buffs and debuffs came in, and I could just see all of those layers coming together, and all I saw was just a mess of systems that I wasn't interested in taking the time to divvy out, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not at that point, so I don't know what that boss is, and I wasn't watching your stream at that point. But,
I was never real high on the combat to begin with. It's not like this fight. Like I was like, oh, I was having so much fun, and now I'm not having fun because I lost. We're done. It was kind of like, all right, I think I get it. But the whole time I was playing this game, it's the combat always felt like it had this weird level of jank to it that just didn't feel right. It didn't feel good. And that boss fight was kind of all of those issues and all of those concerns that I had. It brought it all to light. And I was like, this is why this doesn't feel good to me.
Do you think more classes or more jobs could alleviate that? Like,
well, that's the other thing then too. I don't think so, because then you have to grind all of these jobs up to get the skills that are associated with them. And I don't have any interest in I don't like the combat enough to go grind to build up these jobs to get and there's primary classes, or there's primary jobs, and then you can do a secondary job. But the secondary job, you don't earn any job points, even if you have it equipped.
So you would use your secondary job as something you've already grinded out all the levels on.
Yeah.
And then you're using your primary job to then get those levels, then switch. And
and I never got to that point again, because I just, what is useful, what isn't, when, it just, I will say, like, this is very much my opinion of it, because from what I've seen of reviews and things like that, that game is actually getting very, very good scores. People are really enjoying the game. I think there's just like kind of that perfect storm of things that maybe turn me off of JRPGs. Those are the things that I'm seeing more often than not, and then coupled with the things like the voice acting, just the graininess of the game overall. I just kind of decided,
I would love to see it on a more powerful machine. At least just to brute force some resolution into it.
Yeah. So
yeah. All right.
But yeah, that's my reason for jumping off of Bravely Default. Still, I think it's probably a fine game.
Play Final Fantasy VIII instead.
Oh no, I'm not playing that game.
Yeah, dude.
Let me
cash in for the best Final Fantasy.
You can cash in, but you'll find Final Fantasy VIII is not actually on the list.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be.
Anyways. But that's all I've got. Yeah, that's all we've got.
Yeah, I was trying to think. That's really all that I have as well. I guess just my quick last thing on Bravely Default. I think it scratches that old school JRPG itch pretty good for a few hours. Like if you ever feel like you're like, man, I just want something where I have 4 characters. They have different classes. We're leveling up some stuff. We're just grinding out in the overworld. Man, that's the game.
Yeah, I mean, we've got Phoenix Downs, we've got Echo Screens, we've got. Yep. I mean, it is Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Through and through. I mean, it really is.
Did you play Octopath?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. And like, there's a lot of systems that had carried over to Octopath, and I wonder if, like, you having played that had colored what your opinion is on this deep down.
I don't.
Because I feel like they still had a little bit of like the Brave and Default system in there.
There was something similar to, I can't remember. It's a game that I plan on streaming. I made it pretty far in, but I never actually beat it. I think I fell off for another game.
Yeah.
So I do plan on playing it on stream at some point. And it was long enough ago where I don't think it would have tainted my opinion of this. The other thing that I think might affect me, and this might just be a purely aesthetic thing, the Bravely Default characters are not chibi, but they do have that aesthetic.
It's that same art style from 4 Heroes of Light on DS. Like they carried that. It is chibi. They are. Totally
would you call
chibi.
it chibi? Okay,
I would call it chibi. Yeah,
like the Final Fantasy,
giant heads, tiny body, and they're all short. Yeah,
they're
all chibi.
I think that aesthetic just has, if anything, it might have a negative impact on me, because I could play Octopath Traveler with its shiny 16-bit aesthetic, but blown up to modern standard, like modern, whatever. Just the way that game is presented appeals to me so much more than a game like Bravely Default.
It has like an artistic style to it.
Yeah,
like that's very different, and that lends itself more to being on like the Switch, and also if you're playing it on PC, like that style is that game's whole look. Like it's meant to look pixelated. It's meant to look like a 3D 16-bit game.
I was thinking as I was playing this game too, I was getting flashbacks to Lost Sphere, which has the same kind of characters, same kind of overworld, same kind of story presentation.
Yeah,
that's the other thing too. I don't think the Bravely Default story is told in a captivating way. I think it's a very dull delivery when it's just the characters on screen.
Yeah, and like the original Bravely Default, as far as I had played, was mostly like, hey, we're finding these people who have their asterisks, and we beat these people, and we get those classes from them, and then you just keep on going from the next to the next one to the next one to the next one.
Yeah,
and it wasn't like anything groundbreaking for the story at all. It was really just I'm beating these bosses to collect these classes to, I guess, move on with the game. But
well, if anything, it was a good way for me to realize that maybe the Bravely series as a whole just was never meant for me, even though I really wanted to play it for the longest time. Maybe playing Bravely Default 2 can like just kind of check that off, and maybe I don't have to play those games.
Sure.
So, well, cool.
Yeah,
John, should we get to our games?
We should. I think we are very far into this podcast. We should probably talk about some games. At least.
I think so. Before we do, though, if you guys could take a couple minutes to go in and rate the podcast on whatever you're listening to this on. Now, I did find out Spotify does not have a way to rate this podcast. So if you're listening to this on Spotify, you're off the hook. You can share, you can do other things, but it doesn't seem like Spotify has a rating system. Somebody asked me specifically about that. Timmy did actually a couple weeks ago.
That's right. And
I shared the iTunes link and said, I was like, here, just go there and
just go rate it here.
That's right. Same show,
friend.
Promise. But yeah, that would mean the world to us. That's one of the ways.
Give us likes on our YouTube.
Yes, do that as well. If you subscribe to our YouTube, if you listen there, even if you don't, just that obviously helps us reach some
the algorithm.
Exactly. And then if you guys would like to be a part of the show, we got multiple ways for you to reach us. Patreon.com/procedurally generated. We've got our Twitter, PG_show, our email, pgshowinbox@gmail.com. We have our Discord, which will be linked below. And then, as John mentioned, our YouTube. Procedurally Generated is on YouTube. All of our past shows are on there. And a couple bonus things. Boy, I still have to get Corpse Party up there. What a couple of weeks it's been. But yes, check that stuff out. Be a part of the show. Give us your thoughts. Weigh in on the games that we've covered. We look forward to hearing from you. Cool.
All
right, John. What do you think? Do you want to do us the honors of the first game, or should I take it?
Sure, I could do that.
Do it up.
Yeah. So our first game this week, it's a PC title from 1999. The developer is Engineering Animation Inc., the publisher is Sierra Online Inc. This is a hunting simulator called Field and Stream Trophy Buck. Chris, I actually played this when I was a kid.
You know what?
I realized it when I was researching this. I'm like, this all seems super familiar.
I think I did too.
Yeah. I used to go to my friend's house and play games on his PC there. And I think his dad had some hunting games. I'm pretty sure this is one of them. Specifically, the things that like stand out to me are like choosing your weapon. So there's a bunch of different rifles and shotguns and bows and muzzle loaders that you can choose. Like it is a simulation of hunting. But it was like that portion, and then having the like once you're actually out in the world, it's a 3D map that you're wandering around, and you're just trying to stalk some deer and hunt them. There's the deer scent that you can put on yourself, and also like you have some deer antlers you can like mash together to make sound to like attract deer. Like those things like specifically just stand out in my mind. Like, oh, I definitely played either this or like the subsequent versions of this. I'm pretty sure it was this one though.
Yeah, I don't know how similar other games, hunting games, would have been to this. I don't know if it was this one specifically. Mm-hmm. But as I was watching gameplay, my uncle, we used to go visit him. He lives up in northern Minnesota. We used to go up and visit him, and when we'd visit, we'd stay for like 4 or 5, 6 days, whatever. And then I would get bored, and he had a PC, and it was a game very, very similar to this, just the same, walking around a 3D environment, super pixelated deer from a long ways away, trying to shoot him at the moving
trying to get through a river. It's like, this is too deep.
Yeah.
can't cross here. It's too deep.
But if you chase a deer into the river, it's, up to its antlers.
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's funny that you say that, because I think I had the same experience when I was researching this. I'm like, oh my God, this might be the one.
It was like a game that just like ran on anything back then. And if anybody was like interested in hunting and had a computer, I think they probably had this game, because it was like $10-$20 or something at Target. Just get the disc for it.
Right. Yeah. And my uncle was is a big hunter.
Oh, cool.
So yeah.
Same with my friend's dad. So the other thing that this like would get confused in my mind with when I was initially researching this was carnivores. Did you ever play carnivores?
I don't think so. I mean, it sounds familiar, but it doesn't sound like a game like this.
It absolutely is it's a hunting game like this, only you hunt dinosaurs instead of deer.
Okay.
So like you still like select your gun and like what map you're going to be on, but you also choose like, am I hunting a stegosaurus this time? Is it a raptor? Am I hunting a T-Rex? And the only way to kill like a T-Rex was by shooting it in the eye. Like that was its only weak point. Carnivores was awesome. I love that game.
That sounds okay. I'm not gonna lie.
It was pretty good, but like it was also like a similar game to this, where it was just like a simple 3D world. The dinosaurs were actually 3D as well. They weren't just like 2D sprites like this one is for the deer. But yeah, there's something engaging about like a hunting simulator. Even though like this one, I don't think it has anything too in depth for like tracking besides like sound and sight. Like I don't think you can find like tracks or like any like damage on trees to see if anything had been near where you are. Like there's nothing like too serious about the tracking system in this game.
I think you could track an injured deer. Like you could,
I think there would be blood or something. Yes,
but that might have been the extent of it.
Right. Yeah. But like something like this factors in like wind and your scent and the sounds that you're making, which I think is pretty cool. Especially for a game that's, I mean, this limited. This was before this before Half-Life or around the same time as Half-Life?
Well,
for
Half-Life
first-person
was
shooters.
98, wasn't it?
I don't know. We haven't covered it.
That's true. We'll never know. It's impossible.
We'll never know until we get to Half-Life.
Pretty sure Half-Life was 98. Let me plug in some numbers here.
98. Yes. So this is a year after.
Okay. So you'd mentioned wind, and I don't know. Did you watch a gameplay video of this at all?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you happen to notice? We might not have watched the same one, but if we did you happen to notice the wind on this video?
No.
The sustained wind was between 60 and 70 miles an hour the entire time.
I'm looking now. This one's like 47 miles per hour.
Yeah, so the wind seems a little goofy because I'm not sure you'd be out hunting in 60 to 70 miles an hour. Also, clear as a bell outside, just not a cloud in the sky. So I don't know.
Listen, it was 1999. It was a different time. It was pre 9/11. The clouds were a little bit clearer at the time.
That's true. The deer weren't running because of your smell. They were running from the smell 5 miles away.
You're right.
From the
exactly.
City. Yeah.
Blowing in at 48 miles an hour.
My deer flew. That was weird. Yeah. No, but yeah, it was a fun little unexpected nostalgia.
I don't think I ever noticed that when I was a kid either. That's wild.
Probably looked at it like, oh yeah, that's normal.
That's that's Minnesota. It's always a 60 mile per hour gust here.
Like I was saying, it was a fun, unexpected little like nostalgia trip. Thinking about it brought me back to my going and visiting my uncle up north when I was doing research on this game. So that was an unexpected surprise.
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of the game, I don't think I have. I mean, there's a bunch of different areas: Rocky Mountains, Pacific Northwest, Texas. You may have said that. I was really. I
didn't. So thank you.
I was really hoping for rural Minnesota, but they didn't have it.
No bueno.
But I think they had.
They have Iowa.
They did.
That counts, right?
Well, and I almost expect them to because that's where they were. That's where. Do you want to talk about the developer a little bit?
Let's see here.
Because so Engineering Animation, they're actually based in Ames, Iowa. You don't get a lot of video games churning out of Iowa, but it should surprise no one that it's a hunting game.
Right.
But Engineering Animation. I had some of their games that they've worked on in the past. There wasn't a lot to find about them.
No, most of the games that they worked on were licensed games actually. Yes. So while they did Trophy Buck, they did Sierra Trophy Hunting, which I think came before this. Let's see here. They did the Small Soldiers game, which I think is very exciting. Did you ever watch Small Soldiers?
I don't think so. I think I actually played more of the video games because I feel like weren't there multiple Small Soldiers games?
No,
kind of a big property for a while.
So that was Army Men.
Oh yeah, okay, those are very different things.
Small Soldiers was a movie about like action figures and stuff. It's like kind of like a live action Toy Story, but like it was all stop motion action figures.
Okay,
doing adventure stuff. So it was a neat movie. I remember liking when I was a kid. But yeah, they did a Clue game. They did an unpublished Legend of the Five Rings game, which I tried to find more information on and just couldn't. Legend of the Five Rings is a card game. It's like a Magic the Gathering for.
Of course, your interest was piqued.
Right, exactly. But that was a card game franchise that was really big around that time, which kind of started gaining popularity again a few years ago when Fantasy Flight picked them up. Let's see here. Like I said, most of their stuff was basically licensed stuff. So
yeah, I also saw Animaniacs.
Yep.
Scooby-Doo, Mystery of the Fun Park Phantom.
It's my favorite kind of Phantom.
Championship Bass. So they did some fishing games. In fact, their last game in 2002 was Matt Hayes Fishing. I don't know who Matt Hayes is, but he's big enough to have a video game.
He's got to be a fisher, man.
I would assume so.
It's a fun looking cover.
But after I guess I don't have the year for this, but their last game, Matt Hayes Fishing, came out in 2002, and then they were purchased by Unigraphics Solutions. So they are not, and I think that
they're not a video game company anymore, are they? Like they're mostly they were doing like visualization software before that, or before they did games, and they kind of moved into games. Yeah, I really don't have much on them.
Yeah.
They've gone on to work. Oh, former employees have gone on to work at Pixar, Disney, Hasbro, Milkshake Media. I have no idea what that is, but I like the name. DreamWorks and Maxis. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't pull up like credits on this game specifically. So I didn't really have anybody to really track like what they did.
Yeah, I mean, I think thinking back to the research, now this one was a tough one. In full disclosure, this was the one game that I had done 2 weeks ago, so
sure.
Trying to think back on some of that stuff. But I feel like engineering animation, they had a unique program or something that I don't know if it was an actual engine or what. You know what? No, I'm not even going to say anything about it because I can't. I can't pull back.
It says computer-generated animations were used in reconstructing the TWA Flight 800 plane crash scenario.
Jeez.
In numerous crime scene investigations, including the murder of Nicole Brown Simpson and the Oklahoma City bombing for NBC's Inside Edition. So like they were doing just like 3D visualization stuff.
And that's which is it's wild. Something along. I didn't realize that stuff, but something about their software was unique in that it was able to do these strange things that you don't really tie to video games, but they were used in a video game capacity as well.
So it was rendering complex animation in hardware rather than in the software. So kind of like things that you see in like GPUs.
Okay,
I guess would be, I guess my I want to say dumb comprehension of this. Like that's the thing that kind of like ties to my brain. It's like instead of it in the engine, it's using like the actual processors and RAM and stuff to calculate those things.
Okay. I mean the between the developer and the publisher is much more well known. In this capacity with Sierra. Boy,
it's like still around.
Yeah, kind of back again, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah, formed in 1980. Yeah. Online Systems became Sierra Online Systems after moving to the foothills of the Sierra Nevada mountains. So that's why they changed their name. I'm not covering the entire history of the company because we'll probably do that again in the future.
I feel like there's probably better games to do it with.
Yeah, that's just it. A lot happened over the years. Let's just say that. Acquisitions, mergers, sales, etc. Until 2008 when Sierra was actually shuttered. Mm-hmm. In 2014, a new Sierra logo was teased, saying that Sierra was coming back, and they unveiled Geometry Wars 3 and King's Quest, which King's Quest
come out.
Yeah, King's Quest was an episodic
that's
remake,
right.
A remake of
Christopher Lloyd in it.
Yeah.
What a weird game to come out.
Yeah, it was a remake of the King's Quest games from the Sierra days of old.
Yeah.
But they have done so much. Credit with 591 games as both developer and publisher. They took more of a publishing role, I believe, later on. But they've I can still visualize the Sierra logo from games that I played growing up.
Right. So the revival of Sierra was actually under Activision. It was a separate publishing arm under Activision to work on downloadable titles, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. What a weird road for a pretty storied company.
Mm-hmm. So that is our first game.
Yeah. Hey, hunted that one down.
We sure did.
Right? I should say I downloaded the demo for this game. And I don't know if there's an issue with the I don't know if it's using Flash or what kind of like video player it's using, but I could not get the like the mouse would show us like a black box. I could move around the world, but anytime it had me like zoom in for like using a gun to like aim, the screen would go black. So
all right.
I was having some weird visual issues with the games, but so I couldn't really play it, and the demo wouldn't let you look at the credits at all, or any of the options or menus or anything. It was just like, just go to quick start. You'll be fine. It'll just toss you in a river or something. Just drops you in the middle of a random map.
Yeah, and then you just wander around. There's always deer, though.
There's always deer. Hey, man.
Yeah.
There's always deer. There's deer in the woods.
It would be a not fun game if you like got dropped down and there's just no deer anywhere.
What if I told you there were dinosaurs?
Whoa.
I know. You could shoot them. You could hunt them.
You could run the other direction because they're dinosaurs?
No, you got to run at them with a gun.
Because they understand that.
They do. You've seen Jurassic Park. They understand plenty.
All right, John, should we take a break?
Let's do it.
All right, we'll see you guys in a couple minutes. Welcome back. How was your break, John?
It was good, actually. I was looking at the old Twitter during the break.
Oh, that was your first mistake.
Actually, not a mistake this time.
Oh, good. What's going on the tweets?
So I saw that there was a vote in Minnesota.
I saw that too.
It's the Minnesota Department of Transportation. Mm-hmm. They had a vote to name the snow plows for all the new plows coming in. Yep. And so these are the names that won, and these will be on the new plows for 2021. First off, we have Darth Blader, which is all right.
That's good.
Duck Orange Truck. I hope that one gets decommissioned real quick. These are all very Minnesota things, by the way. F. Salt Fitzgerald. It's actually pretty good. The next one is Ope. Just gonna plow right past you. Just incredible. Plow Bunyan. This is the one that made me see what this was. One of the trending topics that I had was Plowy McPlowface. Snowby-Wan Kenobi, and the truck formerly known as Plow. Those are our new plows for Minnesota.
All right.
I think we chose well. I guess there was one called Abolish Ice that for some reason did not make it. Seems maybe a little bit too politically charged.
I guess so.
But those are the new jokey names for plows.
Yeah, the Star Wars vibes are strong there, so I'm all in on it.
Just gonna plow right past you.
Just gonna plow right past you there.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah, just pardon me. Gosh, I'm sorry.
Gosh. Oh.
Oh, you loved it. You love to see it.
I ope at least 5 times a day.
Oh yeah, I've become more and more aware of my opes.
Oop.
It's less though now since I'm not running into random strangers.
Well, that too. I have to deal with people on like elevators sometimes. Still.
Whoop! Didn't see you there.
I have to put a quarter in a jar somewhere every time I ope. Chris, what's now we've gotten past our funny haha plow times. What's the next game that we're covering today?
John, this one's kind of a big one. This game is developed by Cyan, published by Broderbund Software, We have a first-person adventure puzzle game released in 1993. It released on a lot of things: 3DO, Amiga, CDI, iPhone, Jaguar, Macintosh, PlayStation, PlayStation 3, PSP, PS Vita, Sega Saturn, Windows, Windows 3.x, and Windows Mobile. Now, obviously not all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
We drew the Jaguar version of this, the Atari Jaguar version of this. This game is called Myst.
What?
Yeah, with a Y.
With a Y. M-Y-S-T.
Myst.
I missed it. I missed it when it came out.
Myst is a huge game.
It's a big game.
I would be very much surprised if anybody listening to this has never heard of the game Myst.
Yeah.
What we have is a first-person point-and-click adventure where the player controls a character known as the Stranger. He's been magically transported into the world described in a book that he has. I realize this description is missing some context, but he needs to explore Myst Island and solve its mysteries. The game is presented as a series of static scenes where the player acts with the environment by clicking and manipulating objects.
Mm-hmm.
There are no enemies, and it is not possible to die. Through Myst Island, the game is further divided into many worlds set in different ages, accessed through different books. So, John, give me your storied history with Myst. When did it start? How much did it change you as a gamer? Let me know.
I played it for the first time this week.
Amazing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
that actually did floor me when you said that before we started. You should have accidentally played this game by now.
I think I had accidentally played maybe as much as I accidentally played this week. That's about it. There's something about point-and-click adventures from the early 90s that are hard to get into now.
Truth. 100%.
Whereas I can go and play something like The Witness, which is probably very similar in structure, and be just fine playing it. I'm completely fine with like exploring an island, finding secrets, like reading whatever like lore they have in like books to figure out puzzles. That's great. And actually I might actually do that with Myst now that I'm older and I can kind of sit down and enjoy things a little bit better than I could when I was younger. I liked a little bit more actiony games back then, but yeah, I really don't have too much of a history with Myst. We were talking before the show started, and I actually played Cyan's first game and didn't know that it was the same developer or the same two guys that made it, Robin Miller and Rand Miller, who are brothers. I guess we can get into a little bit of history there. They're brothers who founded Cyan. They were really into different like fantasy storytellers, so like Tolkien, and let me see if I can find their list here quick. They were into like Tolkien-esque like world builders. But they made a game. Their first game was a game called The Manhole, which is something that I played when I was young and didn't really I explored the hell out of that game, but I never really found like an end game to it ever. I don't know if there is. I don't know if it's just like exploring that world and that's it. But like I never found like an overarching puzzle to actually solve. But that was really my only like first person point and click adventure experience.
Okay.
Way back then. But do you what's your history with the old Myst?
So I've dabbled in Myst. I actually so Myst would have came out in 93. I would have been 8. I don't remember how I would have played it.
Yeah. Well, so it came out on Mac OS first and then Windows a year later.
That's true.
Like I don't think my family had a computer that could run this until I don't know. A few years after this, maybe?
I'm thinking that maybe the first instance that I had of this might have actually been on PlayStation.
Sure.
Which was probably not the best version of it. And by then too, like my gaming, that would have been 95 for the PlayStation, 10 between probably the ages of like 10 and 12 is probably would have been the first time I tried Myst.
Sure.
And by then I'd kind of already known what I liked as a gamer. And this wasn't really it, but I also think that I was not really aware of the significance of what this game really was, though. Because at that point,
I think maybe we were just too young for Myst at that time too.
It could have been. I mean, it is a game that was billed as a game for adults.
Right.
This was not a kid's game.
Kind of going back to like the manhole wow. How can I say this without it sounding weird?
Let's hear it.
The manhole. I was gonna say the manhole grasped me or like gripped me, in a way, just because it was so cartoony, fantasy oriented, and I guess like maybe I did like point and clicky things when I was young, but like Myst is such an adult fantasy puzzle centric game. Like you're reading tomes of texts and like learning about this guy and like these other two people that were on this island with him and them like building everything on there, and there's people who are trapped in books, and you have to like figure out puzzles all across the island to travel to other worlds and figure out the mystery on this island. And it was maybe a little bit too much for me at the time.
Yeah, I think that's true. Video games at the time, which is not the case now, despite what some people think. Video games very much at the time were toys. I mean, they were things for children. So the idea that this game could come around, and I mean, as a child, I didn't get it. I'm like, what is this? Like, I didn't understand. But yeah, I mean, if we would have been older, it might have had more significance. I might have actually realized how important this game is to the industry, which we'll get into a little bit later on. But a couple like quick snippets that I just want to share that I found on Moby. This is another. It's either the fourth, maybe fifth game we've come across some crazy how that is one of the 1,000 video games you must play before you die.
Out of a list of like close to 150,000, I mean
that ratio
pretty
is
good.
High.
It's pretty good.
There are 3 novels that exist within the Myst universe that have been written. So
there are one of which was written while this game was being developed.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so while they were developing Myst, the Miller brothers figured that people would want to know more about the world, just because there was a lot of complexities there that could probably need some filling in on information. So that's when they, oh gosh, what is the first book? It's like the Book of Atreus.
That might correct? Be right. I know it's the book of, all 3 of them are titled the Book of.
Yeah, but like the first book that they wrote, they like those the 2 main guys from Cyan actually like helped write that and get it out there while Myst was being developed, just to give more lore to the world. And man, they probably weren't wrong, seeing that this was the best-selling PC game until The Sims.
Yeah.
I know you said that we would kind of get into that a little bit later, but this game sold over 6 million copies, which is insane for a PC game, especially in the 90s.
Yeah, right.
And it took, if you think about it, it took The Sims to dethrone it. Like the biggest selling franchise on PC. I guess not anymore, but Sims was a real big thing in the 2000s.
Yeah. And Myst was, I mean, this was referenced in pop culture at the time too. It was referenced in The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror 6. There's a replica of Myst Library, and a bit of the theme song from the finale of Myst plays in the episode. I didn't get a chance to check it out. I do want to listen and see that part.
Yeah.
But, and it's got, here are some of the awards. I didn't list all the awards. It's got a lot of awards, but I thought these were kind of interesting. The 15th anniversary issue of Computer Gaming listed Myst as its 11th most innovative computer game, its 13th hardest computer game, and its third least rewarding ending of all time. So,
sure,
not high on how it wrapped up.
No, and I think I know how it wraps up after researching things, but I think I would still play it.
Yeah, I mean, it spawned sequels and all that stuff too. PC Gamer also in April 2000 named it number 42 in the all-time list of top 50 games.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's got a quite the history to it.
Really? Yeah, it does.
I found a little bit of history surrounding the initial pitch and development, which I thought was kind of interesting. Initially, Rand and Robin Miller, the brothers who developed the game, pitched the game to Activision. They didn't have the game created or anything like that. It was just kind of a pitch. Here's what we'd like to make. Here's what we would need to do this thing. But they had it titled at the time, The Gray Summons. Robin recalled that meeting and said that Activision told them to stick to children's games. So,
which they had done, up to that point.
They had been, doing children's games. Specifically, some of those games were just released for their children. Nothing that was put out to the public or anything. They were then approached by Sunsoft after not having a lot of success moving forward with this game, where Sunsoft had told them that they were looking for a game geared more toward adults. They presented a 7-page proposal asking for $265,000, which they thought was actually twice the money they would need to create the game, but ended up falling pretty short of what it would cost in the end. So that's kind of the story of how it came to be. But I think on like a grander scale, I say how much this game meant to the industry. Like Myst kind of created a divergence in the video game timeline to me, so to speak. Video games were all about arcades at the time. They were about having a set number of lives, having scores,
having time limits. Like,
yeah.
If you think about like a lot of the games that I remember being like a contemporary to this would be like the early like X-Wing and TIE Fighter games, and like those are very much like you have time limits for everything. You have everything's like life based, and everything's super quick, and you couldn't really take your time with anything. Whereas with this, like, there's no time limit. You could just explore as much as you want. There's no fail state until you get to the ending, really, I guess, which doesn't really have a fail state. They just have different endings. It's just take your time, do what you want with it, explore this world. Like, you could actually immerse yourself in this world.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of trace the lineages of like some of the bigger games of today back to Myst setting itself aside from that timeline. Video games continued, on their way with what they were known for, like scores and lives and all that stuff. But this created a sort of immersive storytelling that was just unprecedented at the time. You look at games like Gone Home. Everybody's gone to the Rapture. Those walking simulators, and then that's kind of the current version of what Myst was then. Myst was not designed with 3D environments. They didn't have the capability at the time. Each one of those scenes is designed to look like a 3D environment, but it is not.
Right.
So it took, what did they say? Like 25, no, I think it was 1,200 stills exist in that game.
Sounds right.
Different scenes that you go through.
Yeah.
So it's just that's the most basic form of what that 3D exploration game could look like, and this is how it's kind of evolved over the years. And again, going back kind of the pop culture thing, I thought this was funny. The Bourne Conspiracy video game, with Matt Damon, who is the actor. He wanted the Bourne Conspiracy video game to be a puzzle game like Myst, and when they decided not to do that, he refused to lend his voice talents to the game.
Oh my god!
Because it eventually became a shooter.
That's incredible,
right? Like people
like when you think
Myst.
of the Bourne franchise, it's very action packed.
Yeah,
that's weird. Yeah, that's crazy.
Right. So, it's also interesting timing that we're covering Myst, because there is a show in development currently. A story written back on April 15th, 2020. I found this on GameSpot and then further confirmed it, I think, on Gamasutra and some other places, that a writer, Ashley Edward Miller, who wrote Thor and X-Men First Class, was writing the pilot and be the showrunner for a brand new TV show based on Myst.
Oh, cool.
So this show, like, there might be a TV show coming up that gets us back into the world of Myst. It sounded like it was based on this Myst. There are now 5 Mysts.
There's a lot of Mysts.
Yeah,
6.
Are there 6?
Technically with Uru.
Okay. So yeah, it's we might be seeing more Myst, even more Myst in the future. I would watch that TV show. I think that the setup for this game is interesting, and
right.
I think that it could be something pretty neat.
Yeah, where you have, I mean, when you first get to the island, at least as far as I experienced, where you get in, you start exploring. There's like different places with switches that don't do anything. You go into like an observatory, that you can like sit in a chair and like look at the sky, and change like dials for like what date you're seeing the sky. So like you can change like the day, the month, and then what time it is to see like the different constellations that would happen there. So there's like puzzles involved with all that. And then you can go into another place that's like a library, and in there you find a book, and like a page next to it. You pick up the page, put it in the book, you open the book, and there's a little video player, which this is one of the big innovations, I'd say, for Myst. And Myst is kind of credited to be something that helped expand the CD-ROM format. They wouldn't be doing these streaming videos in the game if not for CD-ROM. PCs really weren't holding that kind of video information of that size, I should say. Usually you were playing that off of a disc of some sort. But you open the book and there's like a staticky video where like pieces are popping up. Like you'll see it in games today. Like they did in Assassin's Creed. Like you pick up pieces of Eden or whatever whatever you did in Assassin's Creed, and it would start to like decipher a video for you to watch that would kind of explain what's happening. So there's like people talking to you from books. There's a lot of like crazy, like the opening movie is very cinematic, I'd say, for a point and click adventure from that time. Like a book falling from the sky as like the credits are playing, and someone like describing I don't know, creating something, and I don't remember the full context, but like someone's talking to you about like about the world, and like, oh, like this, I guess this is like the beginning of something greater that we're going to be exploring. I don't know, getting really rambly here, but
well, no, I think you make a good point too. Like as I said before about it being a divergence in the video game timeline as it relates to how you play a game, you kind of hit it on the head too. It also created that divergence for CD-ROM in general. This game, along with The Seventh Guest, which came out at about the same time. In fact, The Seventh Guest came up in one of the meetings with Rand and Robin Miller, saying, "Well, do you think it could be as good as big as The Seventh Guest?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure. I don't know. Like, it sounds good to me."
Maybe.
Yeah, it ended up being.
I don't know. Are we doing cool things with videos?
It ended up being something bigger.
It was like magic,
and it hit at like that perfect time before like file sharing websites showed up and CD burners. Like those things weren't around at the time, so they didn't have to worry about the piracy and things like that. So that's one of the reasons this game sold so well. There wasn't any other way to get it other than to buy it.
Right.
So again, that's just another way that it pushed the entire industry forward. Or at least maybe not, if not forward, at least made it branch out and kind of flow from there. So
yeah.
That's really all I guess I have on Myst itself. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't want to get like too deep into it. Like, you do go to other worlds, and that kind of goes into the future of the Myst franchise. But like everything that you're trying to solve is on this specific island. I think that's a cool like start and end point. Like everything that you find at the beginning is kind of like what you're trying to solve in the end. And I looked up, I'm like, oh, I wonder if like since Myst is kind of the original, not maybe the original point and click adventure game, like first person point and click adventure game, but like one of the bigger ones from close to 30 years ago. I'm like, oh, I wonder if like me as an adult, like having all of my knowledge of games that I have, I wonder if I can just go in and like knock it out in a couple hours. I wonder if it was just like mind blowing at the time, but like pretty simple if you think about it, considering like all that we know. I looked up like how long to beat, and it's 40 hours.
Oh my god, I had no idea it was that long.
Yeah, I spent like a good hour in there just kind of like reading stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I see how this could be 40 hours. Like I hadn't solved any puzzles. It was all just like reading stuff that I found in a library, kind of going through like burnt books.
I wonder if it would be worth like playing through on stream, but using a guide step by step, just powering through.
I don't know. I feel like the fun is not having a guide.
Right.
Like,
that's what
this is 100% using your mind. Like that is the game is figuring stuff out. Like, did you ever play like The Witness or Fez or
I played like The Witness for a little bit.
Those pieces that had like the things that just clicked with you, like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
And like the whole world opens up. I feel like that's the kind of mindset that you want to go into Myst with, where like obviously I don't think it's gonna have like the crazy revelations that I found with like The Witness, and like the environments and the puzzles and how everything comes together there. But having like those revelations of like reading something in a book and like noticing something that you had seen a few hours back, like, oh, I can go solve this thing now. Like that's the answer to this. I feel like just going through with a walkthrough, you might as well just watch a video of it.
That's true. But then your other option is this game has been updated.
It has.
There's it's called Real Myst Masterpiece Edition that's actually available on PC, Mac, Nintendo Switch, iOS, and Android. Yes. Which basically turns it into kind of an FPS. Well, not the shooter part, but
right. A walking simulator.
Yeah, it's a walking simulator.
You actually have full 3D control instead of having to like click whatever like corner of the screen you want to travel to.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe that's the play. I don't know.
I was actually thinking, like, before we started this, I'm like, should I buy Real Myst? Because I bought the 25th anniversary of Myst, like the masterpiece collection of the original.
Okay.
And that's the one I was playing. But like now thinking about it, I feel like I would pick up Real Myst just for, well, knowing that the resolution's gonna be a lot better, and just having like motion that I'm more familiar with, and like exploring a world in a way that I'm more familiar with these days might help. But having like the same puzzle structure and stuff, I think it would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I definitely think the Real Myst version would appeal to me more. Just being used to the first person control, point and click to me has just never been something that I've gotten into. So it replaces that mechanic as well. So it's something I might consider.
Or it's supposed to come out on VR at some point.
Yeah,
It was
actually,
announced for like late last year, and it didn't come out. Obviously, things are crazy right now.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see what that game looks like on like PSVR or Oculus or something. I think that might be a really cool way to experience Myst.
Well, it does say on their website, if you want the latest, most updated version, or you're looking to experience Myst in VR, then Myst is the version for you.
Mm-hmm. I bet it is.
Is it out already?
I don't know. From what I was reading, it's not. It was supposed to come out it was originally supposed to come out in 2020 and then just hasn't. So
let me see here.
Myst VR on Oculus Quest. I don't know what that voice is, but I'm not gonna use it anymore.
It's an interesting one.
December 10th, 2020. It looks like it came out.
Just
on Oculus.
Just recently, even. There you go.
Yeah. So
that would be something.
Yeah. I think that'd be a neat way to explore this world.
Right.
I think a lot of games would be cool in VR, especially ones that are mostly about looking around your world and figuring stuff out from that. I don't know. How are you with VR? Do you have a VR thing?
I've never even tried it.
Wow.
In fact, the one time I was going to try it was when we were at GlitchCon.
Oh, right. I think we've talked about this before.
I think we were standing in line, and I saw the one dude who took it off, and he was very sweaty, and I'm like, well, I don't want to stand here anymore.
Nah, no thank you.
I will get you next time.
And that time never came. Sony kind of shadow announced the new PSVR this week.
PSVR 2, yeah. Apparently that's a thing.
That was weird. It was just like a little press release, like, hey, we're doing it.
Yeah.
It's going to be better. That's about all that we have to say for now. Right.
Neat, guys.
Sure.
In terms of Cyan Inc., what they've been doing now, whether they're now known as Cyan Worlds, yes, they
made Myst.
They did make
more Myst.
Yes, they made
some Mysts.
Riven. They made some Riven, the follow up to Myst, or the Riven was a sequel to Myst, but yet there's Myst 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So Riven is Myst 2 essentially.
Okay.
Myst 3 Exile was actually done by someone else completely because the rights were owned by Ubisoft, I believe.
Yeah, Ubisoft is, I think they currently own, because they were responsible for the last 3 games, weren't they?
Yeah. Yep.
So, but they've done some other games. One game, their most recent game was called Zed, came out in 2019. And then another game you had mentioned before we started recording, I don't know anything about it, but you said it had some favorable opinions. A game called
Abduction. Yep. So that was kind of their return to form. Like, hey, this is our new Myst-like game. Rand Miller was heading it up. So Robin Miller, his brother, had actually left Cyan after Riven, just to kind of pursue his own things. To do, he did the score for Myst and Riven, and then helped write that novel. He directed a movie and some short animation stuff, or short films. I don't know why I thought they're animation. I don't know if they are. But Abduction was a game that Cyan had kickstarted, and he was going to come in and play a character in it, and said that he would not do the music. He was not going to. He's just going to play this character in it. And then once the game started coming together, he decided to actually do the score for it. So it's kind of neat that he came back to play a role in his brother's game and also score the music that, like, he scored in the first. Actually, he composed music in Cosmic Cosmo, which was one of their previous point and click adventure games. Just neat to see the brothers come back together.
You love to see it
after so long. But yeah, I've heard Abduction is a very good first person adventure puzzle game. I don't know much about it. I watched a trailer of it today. It looks neat. I couldn't tell you what it's about.
Another show, perhaps.
Yeah.
But that's really all I have for Myst and Cyan.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for Myst, like the original Myst, I mean, we probably wouldn't have 3 different genres of games that we have today.
True.
I don't think we would have things like Skyrim without Myst.
Yeah, and that's just it. That's why that divergence. If you were to look at this as like a video game family tree, Myst has one of the thickest branches with a ton of branches coming off of it near the base of that tree. There's, whether you like the game or not, whether you've played it or not, whether you have high opinions of it or not, it doesn't matter. This game was amazingly significant to the industry that we love.
And it sucks that I missed it back then. No pun intended.
It.
I've been using that for the whole episode.
I just caught it now.
Great. Yeah, Myst, glad it's still being re-released. I kind of wish that it had more people would treat it with more reverence these days than I think they do. I feel like Myst is kind of forgotten.
Yeah,
a little bit.
I think this did a good job of reigniting the idea that Myst is very important, because I was like, who cares about Myst? It is what it is. It was an old video game, but in doing the research, it kind of reopened my eyes to just, wow, this game is up there as one of the most significant video games in the history of the medium.
Right.
So I'm actually super happy that we drew it on the show and had a chance to look into it more.
Me too.
John.
Yeah. Chris.
Why don't you drop game number 3 on us?
Oh geez. Game number 3. Oh, let me pull this one up real quick. Game number 3 is a community choice. We did a vote a few weeks back. And the community decided that we should look into a game that's published by 8 Floor Limited, developed by Creobit, for the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Windows, and Xbox One. Is it on more than that? It feels like a mobile game. Anyways, this is Gnomes Garden 3, The Thief of Castles.
Yes, it is. Chris? In fact, I just want to, since you mentioned that it was a community vote game, I just wanted to remind everybody.
Oh yeah, what were the other ones?
What else was up against? It narrowly, we almost had 2 Jaguar games on this show. It narrowly beat Total Carnage, Raishi for the Nintendo 3DS, Moto Ane Chanto Shio Yo plus Tokebetsu Gentiban for the PlayStation Vita. I can't tell you how happy I am that wasn't selected. And ESPN NHL 2K5. So Gnomes Garden was the choice. That was the one.
People like sending us these weird Switch games.
I may have actually cast my vote for Gnomes Garden, not realizing what this game was. We dug our own.
We did. I mean, it's weird and small and yeah.
I saw the name and I was like, this has to be a cool 3D platformer.
You thought it was a Whittle Tree?
I thought it was another Whittle Tree.
I thought it was a Whittle Tree.
I voted for Whittle Tree. That's right. Oh my God, we found the thing that I can't.
But instead, resist. You got time management strategy game.
Yeah, I was getting some city management vibes.
Yeah, this is a very weird game. So here's the back of the box, or what Nintendo has on their page for this game. The Gnome Princess has finally come home, which must have happened. She must have had some adventures in Gnomes Garden 1 and 2.
Yeah.
She managed to make peace with the trolls and befriend their queen, but at home, evil was afoot. A warlock collector stole the gnome monarch's castle along with the royal family. The princess must gather a team and set off on a new adventure to save her loved ones. That is very poorly given to you in the opening cutscenes of the game. It's just really whoever edited that did not do a great job. Just very weird wording with like almost every sentence.
Well, yeah, and getting into like the bullet points of why you should play this game. An extraordinary magical world whose source of magic is ancient gardens.
Uh-huh.
An upbeat plot, colorful comics, and charming characters.
Yes.
A multitude of varied quests and new gameplay elements. I'm assuming new between 2 and 3 and not just new to the industry. Colorful trophies, over 40 unique levels, unusual enemies, sentient plants, gremlins, stone dormice, and krakens. 4 unique locations: the Magic Forest, Crystal Caves, Desert, and Grey Wastelands. Useful bonuses: speed up work, stop time, run fast. Simple controls and a well-designed tutorial. Over 20 hours of exciting gameplay for all ages. Pleasant themed music.
Sure.
Yeah, yep. that got its own bullet
those are all things. The one of the opening sentences of like the opening cutscene is, the princess lived for a while at the Troll Queen's, and over time they became good friends. Like what? But eventually the time came to go home, so the Troll Queen happily offered up her ship and set off with the princess to her native land. Yeah,
that's gotta be just a direct continuation of whatever the hell happens at the end of 2.
Yeah, I like that they just like set up the like that she stayed at the Troll Queen's, but like doesn't say like the home or anything. Like at her castle, it's just like, yeah, she's stayed a while at the Troll Queen's, and over time they became good friends. This game.
I'm going through their. Well, they don't have a web page. They don't have a website. They have a Facebook page.
Creo Team?
Well, 84 Games.
Oh, okay, got it.
And I was going through. Oh, did we talk about the developers? Yeah, you did. Developer CreoBit, publisher 84.
CreoBit, not Creo Team. Creo Team's a different.
That is a different thing.
That's another company that we've talked about. So, I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I guess, so when I say I was looking through their webpage, it was the publishers, not the developers. And I scrolled down for a little bit, just kind of see, I don't see anything specific to this game. And then I finally found something about a Christmas DLC or enhancement.
I think it's its own. I think it's just its own game.
Is it? Because
yeah, I think these are all just separate games.
There's just a Grinch ripoff with like an orange mohawk staring at me, and I'm, gosh,
yeah, it's a separate game. Christmas Story, Gnomes Garden Christmas Story is a game for $14.99 on Steam. So the gameplay of Gnomes Garden, it kind of plays out like a overly simplified real-time strategy game where you have a tent where you have a worker. The worker can only do one thing at a time, and the tent only holds one worker to begin with. So you're going around this map that has pre-placed farms or places to build buildings or resources to gather, and you're sending that worker to different places to gather food or wood or stone, or to fix a lumber mill or fix a farm so you can get more resources to complete your checklist of things for that level. So like the first level is you have to restore 2 farms, you have to build a sawmill, oh no, sorry, this is the second or third level. You have to upgrade your tent so you can have more workers to collect different things. As you're doing that, there's a bar on the left hand side of the screen that has this is why I say it seems like a mobile game. There's 3 stars and a timer that's ticking down. So as time gets lower, if it goes past one of the stars, that's your score for the level. You're just trying to beat this level quick enough to get 3 stars. Different levels have different goals, where like one of the ones I played today was you have to restore these trees. But to restore trees, you need to build a hut for a sorceress. And to use the sorceress, you need to collect crystals. And along the way, you need to build bridges over bogs, or repair bridges, which take food and wood, which you can just find on the side of the road, and you just click them. You just click the things to have your dude go and do that. Like, all you're doing to interact with anything is just clicking on it. There's not a lot going on here. But that was the level that I actually found out you can do things incorrectly and actually just have to restart.
Oh.
Yeah, so I got to a point where there were like 3 different paths I could take, and I had cleared out like logs that had fallen over a path, and I had built a mill or something, but I didn't have enough wood to sorry, not a mill, it was like a bread factory that I made. But I didn't have enough wood to like build a bridge to get somewhere, and I was just stuck. So I had to start over. So not only is it like a time and resource management game, it's also a puzzle game.
Boy, this is checking all of those boxes that I always have in my head, and I'm like,
and as I was going, I'm like,
nope.
Maybe do I like this? Do I actually like this? It's a weird game. I'm still trying to figure out my feelings on it. Like, I don't think it's doing too much that's really that interesting, but it's kind of like scratching that puzzle vibe for me.
Okay.
It's that puzzle itch. Do you have any I'm sure you've watched some videos on how this game kind of plays out.
I watched a little bit. I just kept getting vibes of, again, when you said I can't believe this isn't on a mobile, I thought for sure it was a mobile game, because just looking at it,
yeah,
I was reminded of every time-based. I mean, I can't think of any. I don't play a ton of mobile games, but the ones that I have played that are like, free to start, I think SimCity, the mobile game, did this, and maybe like, I don't know, maybe like Civilization vibes.
Oh, it is on mobile.
It is on
mobile.
Okay.
On mobile.
Yeah,
they are. Guess what? They're free to play on mobile.
Okay. There you go. It's that's the. I was just kind of getting that timer. You're building something. Timer needs to tick down. It's built. Yeah. Go do something else. Timer, do this. Timer, do that. Wait for new resources to come in. Go get it. Well, that's kind of the vibe that I was getting from what I saw.
Yes, and that's correct. What's nice about like so I've only had 2 workers at a time, and like everyone has to be doing something at some point just to make it out in time. Like you always want to send your dude to like pick up wood or pick up food or work on like building something. Building stuff takes like 5 to 10 seconds or something. It's not long. Mm-hmm. But you could also click on other objects to queue whoever's free next to like go and pick up this piece of wood or go work on this project or do blah blah blah. The one thing that kind of sucks is if you're out of like wood or stone or food, you can't complete, or you can't even queue up a project that you're going to have those resources for, that you've already like queued up the other resources for. So you can't just like pre-plan absolutely everything. if that makes sense.
Okay.
So like if a farm needs like 1 worker, 2 food, and like 4 wood, and you only have like 2 wood, but you have a worker going out to pick up 2 wood, you can't like pre-click that farm to like rebuild it.
Oh. Okay.
You have to wait until you have all those resources to then queue that up. But once you have those, it kind of caches in all those resources. And if it's queued up as like something down the line, that's fine. Like it'll still go and do it. I don't know. It's a weird game of time and resource management.
Okay. I mean,
every level's self-contained, so like every level's its own puzzle, and every level only takes a few minutes to play. It's not that long. It's not that time consuming. But if you have to like restart a few times, that can kind of like set you back quite a bit.
Right.
You kind of need to figure out what resources you absolutely need on that level. Now I'm kind of getting deep with the strategy for this. It's like you always need food because your workers need food to do like just about anything, but you also need wood to build things. So you want to make sure that you have like a farm available or like a lumber mill available to start like going through and like taking care of all of your other projects on that map. God, Chris, do I like this?
It sounds like it. I'm thrilled to death that you have this much to talk about on it because
I don't know, dude.
I had nothing.
I'm scared.
This, if you do like it, it might be my surprise of the week.
So, the reason why I think I would be interested in playing more is that there isn't a time mechanic, at least on the PC version. Now, with the mobile versions being free to play, I'm sure there is a time mechanic, and would probably hamper my enjoyment of it quite a bit.
Right.
But on PC, I think it was like $5 or something. And I would gladly pay that for just about any game with a time mechanic to not have to deal with that. Or with an energy mechanic. Sorry, you know what I meant.
Yeah, I gotcha. I mean, I don't have anything else.
I don't really either.
I think it looked cool. It didn't look cool. It looked. It had like a bright, colorful, fantasy aesthetic, which I thought was appealing.
It has that like Farmville aesthetic. Like everything's kind of cutesy. Everything is very specifically tuned for you to wanna like play a level or like click on things, and it has those noises that make the dopamine flow in your brain that make you want to play a little bit more. But I just don't know if it's doing enough. I don't know.
I can't steer you in the right direction.
Yeah, I don't know either. I guess going back to like the developer Creobit, they pump out games, man. So like going to the Moby Games list of what they've done, total, this says that you're currently viewing the 50 most recent games, and it goes back to 2018. Like,
okay,
a lot of the games that they're putting out are mahjong games, jigsaw puzzles. A lot of them are jigsaw puzzles, solitaire games. Like, I think a lot of this stuff is like just reskinned games that they're putting out. Could you find anything on like specific developers for this at all?
No, not really. Like the Facebook page for 8th floor was about as far as my search took me.
This at least the credits for this game only have, at least for the PC version, have 8 names associated with it. So they have someone from 8th Floor Games for production. They have Pavel Podolyak. Creobit has 4 names, one for management. A lot of these are very Russian names, and I would butcher them. But there's someone for management, someone for game design, someone for graphics, and someone for sound and music. So I think a lot of these systems were already built, and they're just kind of retrofitting stuff onto them.
Yeah, I just did a quick search too to see if I could find anything kind of last second, and there's just not a lot that exists on them.
No. And I tried searching for those individual names, and it did not pull up anything.
Yeah.
So it seems like Creobit and 8th Floor are just companies designed to crank out mobile games for people.
So there you go. I mean, and they must be they must be a very efficient group. Like even if that stuff is like created and exists for them, I mean, they're snap, turning stuff out. So
if people are buying them, why not?
That's your.
Did we mention when this game came out? This came out in 2016.
Yes, and we had the Switch version specifically.
Yes,
if it matters. So
and I played the Windows one. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, John.
What a way to end this episode.
Well, God, now
with just after like question marks?
After what you've said, you've got me all intrigued about our next little.
I don't know.
Little sequence here. Where do we rank them,
dude? All right.
I'll tell you what. I'll go first.
Oh, okay.
I want to give you
taking charge.
I do. I'm going to go first because I want you to think this through. All right.
Oh no.
I want you to.
Okay.
I want you to just make sure that you've sussed the you've really worked this out in your head.
Yes.
My number 3 game for the week is Gnomes Garden 3. Yeah, it's whatever has grabbed you. I did not play the game like you did. Maybe I should have. Clearly,
I don't know. I'm always just buying random games
that
we have on here and just at least giving it like 5 minutes. But also a lot of times it's just throwing money away.
Yeah, I this game doesn't do anything to me. It's
sure.
It is very much a.
Like you don't like puzzles.
I don't care for puzzles, and I don't really care for city management games. Well, that's not true. I like SimCity, and I do like that stuff. But when it's I shouldn't say city management. There's a different term for it. There's a God, I don't know. It's not a city builder, but it's just
it's just management. It's
management strategy.
Like how do we make numbers go up and succeed? Like SimCity isn't always just building stuff.
True.
There's a lot of numbers in there, and that's the part that always makes my eyes glaze over a little bit.
Right.
Where I don't think that's what this necessarily is.
No, I'm talking more specific to the the timing mechanism, which I saw. Again, you'd mentioned that wasn't a part.
This is really just like seems like a lot of busy work. Really.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I need to go collect this wood to build this farm I do nothing. I don't know, like build the other farm.
So yeah, I mean everything that I've seen about the game, it's just not it is not a game for me.
Yeah.
So, what is your number 3?
See, I don't know if Gnomes Garden 3 is a game for me, but it's making me think. It's making me think that for this week at least. Number 3 is going to go to Field and Stream Trophy Buck. A game that I literally cannot play currently. I have tried. But also kind of getting in there. Oh boy, that game is dated. I feel like there's other. I know we shouldn't compare it to other things within its genre that we're not covering this week, but I feel like there's better hunting games. I actually kind of want to try. What is that game by Avalanche that's been out for the last couple years? Is it like
by Avalanche?
Is it The Hunter? It's actually like Hunter Call of the Wild. It's like a hunting game.
Oh,
like an open world hunting game. That would be kind of similar to this, or like the newest version of something like this. I feel like I would rather want to play that, or if I'm playing a hunting game from the late 90s, it would be Carnivores. because you're hunting dinosaurs, and that's way cooler.
That is way cooler.
I do like I do like that it's a more realistic simulation. Like, oh, you can't cross every river or stream because it's too deep. I like that you aren't like a paramilitary hunter. Like, you're using the basics. You bring out like a gun and a type of ammunition, and then you just have like your compass, your resistance to 50-mile-per-hour winds, and like your deer scent and your antlers that you're smashing together. There's a nice simplicity to it, but it doesn't go far, I don't think, besides like, oh, can I hunt something with this bow? Like, that's the challenge. Can I hunt something with each of these weapons? And that's about it. I think that's why it's my number 3 this week. It's actually a pretty close top 3 for me. Even though they're all in the top 3. It could really go either way between this and my next choice.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, Chris?
Little suspense there.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to just say it. What?
Well, my number 2 is going to be Field and Stream Trophy Buck.
Ooh, Chris.
Yeah, and that's my number 2 just because that unexpected nostalgia trip I went on when I was doing research on this. It just reminded me of the good old days going up and playing on it, and I had fun with it. I had a good time with it back in the day.
It was a fun experience. I have that same nostalgia. It's
I don't think I could necessarily have a lot of fun with it today,
sure.
Especially, I mean, just given how dated it is, and but for what it is, hunting's always been a fascinating thing to me that I've never done, and I have the opportunity to every year, and I don't want to do it. So it's just like, I don't know. It's that's why it's my number 2. I could play this over Gnomes Garden 3. Is how that lined up. It's just
respect it. Say its full name, Chris.
Gnomes Garden 3. The green people live. Is that
perfect?
It?
That's it.
That's what it was. Okay,
that's the one.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So Field and Stream Trophy Buck is my number 2. What's your number 2?
Cool. My number 2 is going to be Gnomes Garden 3.
God, if you would have said
The
Myst.
Thief of Castles.
Okay, I was close.
Yeah, because the sorcerer stole the castle of the gnome princess, Chris. As myself, the lore aficionado of Gnomes Garden. Yeah, I think just because like there was like a fail state that I found myself at. I feel like that brought this up a little bit. It wasn't just like mindless clicking. And like every level it just like figure itself out eventually, like I thought it would be. I kind of like that you can mess it up early and restart, but also, I mean, this game is very much in the ilk of mobile energy. Like, we're gonna make you wait to play another level because you haven't paid us $20 for your 4 lightning bolts to recharge your level gauge.
Ick.
And once again, I don't know if it does that. It really just reeks of mobile game, like Facebook. I wonder if this was a Facebook game. There's so many things we don't know about,
since that's the only place I could find any information on it.
The Thief of Castles. But yeah, it's either really simple or it's accidentally deep. It seems. But at least there's like levels that you can go into and complete, and it's not like some endless like, oh, now I'm farming my gold radishes for 3 days. It's not like one of those games, luckily, at least not that I've found. I like the puzzle aspects of it. but I can't like fully recommend it to everyone. Like I said, this is barely number 2. This could easily be number 3 for me, but yeah, I guess number 2 feels dirty this week. Is Gnomes Garden 3: The Thief of Castles. Chris, what's your number 1?
My number 1 is going to be Myst, one of the most important video games in the history of video games.
Yeah, that neither of us have really played.
Yeah, and again, doing the research has made me want to try to find a time to do that. If I do, it's gonna be either with a guide or it's definitely gonna be with a guide. I'm not gonna spend 40 hours in a game like this. It's just not gonna happen. But
I feel like you should try it without a guide and kind of feel it out.
Yeah.
At first, give it a day of just walking around that island and looking at stuff. Bring a notebook, write some stuff down. I mean, this is a game that people in 1993 figured out, Chris.
Yeah.
You're not a person from 1993 now.
Well, technically I lived then, so I am.
You did, but you were 8?
I was 8. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. This game deserves more respect from me. Granted, I think I've done a good job of eliciting how important this game is, but to not have really experienced it myself kind of feels a little. I feel a little disingenuous. So,
right.
I'll have to remedy that if I can.
Cool.
What is your number 1?
Yeah, my number 1 is also Myst. Myst?
Yeah, it's tough.
It's Myst. Easily one of the most influential games ever made. One of the biggest games ever made that I've never really given a good shot. I said after just kind of like talking about it today, like, man, I played a lot of the Manhole, and I was really into the Manhole. And that was something that I could never find like an ending for, and I don't know if it did, but I like their work quite a bit, and I feel like I should really give Myst a shot. I think I'm gonna do Real Myst. I know I bought the original Masterpiece edition, but I think Real Myst is going to be the way to go.
I think you're right.
Having those full 3D environments is just going to be easier for me to comprehend everything that's going on and where things are placed. And yeah, I do intend on playing Myst, which is a weird thing to say in 2021. Yeah, I think I'll play Myst.
Yeah, we'll give it a shot.
Which, like, Cyan's probably hoping that people say that, especially with their new VR version.
Right.
When's a better time to play Myst than when you can't really go outside and explore the world? Why not explore this mysterious island with people locked in books, and you're traveling to other worlds, or ages as they call them in Myst. Yeah, I think Myst would be a cool game to explore now, and I think that's why that would be my number 1 for this week.
Yeah, it's tough to argue against a game with that much clout, so to speak.
Yep.
So yes, I would agree. So
cool.
Good on ya. Besides the curveball between your 2 and 3. No, I'm just kidding. I'm glad you're having fun with Gnomes Garden. That's the name of the game.
Yeah, it's whatever. Like, I'll see if I play. I might play a little bit more, but I don't know how much longer it's gonna grab hold of me.
Right.
Chris, that's episode 17.
It is.
I mean, we still have to thank people, but
we do.
Those 2 weeks of anticipation for this show.
A little bit of build up. A little, hopefully people are eager to chime back in and
get back on board.
Show. Yeah. But if you guys would like to offer up your thoughts on the show, offer up your opinions. What did you like about Myst? Have you ever tried Myst? Have you ever heard of Myst?
What do you think about Gnomes Garden?
We can talk about Gnomes Garden.
One of the most influential games of 2016.
That's right. Reach out to us at pgshowinbox@gmail.com. Reach out to us at Patreon. Leave a comment there, patreon.com/procedurally generated. Check out our Twitter, PG_show. The Discord link is below. Leave a message, or leave a message. That's what it's called. It's a message on our YouTube. Comment. It's not a message. It's a comment. Did I miss something? I feel like I missed something. Nope. I think that's it. Do that. Reach out to us.
That should be it.
Yeah. Tell us what you think. Tell us your thoughts. If you want to reach out to us individually. I am CW719 on Twitch. John, you are?
I'm John Carson Games on Twitch.
Yeah, and if you'd ever like to get a better look at who we are, what we look like, what kind of games we play, and
why
all
would
that stuff. I know, right? Keep it a mystery. You won't be disappointed. No, you will be disappointed. I don't know.
You will be. Come to our Twitch streams.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
Get there.
Where once again, I am CW719 and John is
John Carson Games.
There you go.
That's me.
Let's give a quick thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. We have Mecha Sprite at our platinum tier. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mecha.
X-Chin at our gold tier. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cassidy, Catherine, Lone Wolf, Tim G, and Tori at our silver tier.
Wow.
Thank you guys so much. And then we have Aussie Gamer, Brandon, Jason, and John at our bronze tier. Thank you guys so very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Again, if you guys enjoyed the show, please leave a 5-star review. Please share it on your social medias. If you think you know anybody in your life who might enjoy a show like Procedurally Generated, it would mean a lot to us for you to tell them about us.
Mm-hmm.
We will be back next week with another show with some more games. I actually forgot what they are.
Absolutely more games.
Next week's
we've got some good ones.
Yeah.
There's a fighting game. There's an exercise game, and there's a racing game.
Ooh, all right.
Of sorts. And I just want to say before we go, I just looked up Gnomes Garden, and actually it brought up garden gnomes at Home Depot. And there's one for about $27 that's a garden gnome on a toilet looking at his phone. So you can buy that and put it into your yard, and it'll probably be a good use of your money.
I think I actually have that persona.
Yes. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, have yourself a great week. We will talk to you later.
See ya.